All right, you are here for another great installment of Younger Life Live. Good being back, right?
That's
huh?
right. That's right.
Oh
Good
my
Monday.
gosh,
Good morning.
Crazy. The day after Super Bowl. Did you enjoy it there or what? Huh?
I did. I was in and out of watching the game. We had a couple friends over. We had a couple over and their kids for a little while, and so we had dinner. So I wasn't watching too much, but there was a Dachshund commercial.
Yes.
That I have two of them. So that was my kid's favorite. That was like the highlight of the night for the kids. I'm telling you, is that. But it was good.
I'm going to throw this out there. Lame game.
Yeah.
Great halftime. Coldplay and Bruno. Bruno was awesome. And Beyonce, respect her as an artist. I
Yeah.
think they all did, nice collaboration.
Yeah.
Speaking of wonderful people, ladies and gentlemen, proudly welcome to the Younger Life Live Studios. Sue Klebeck, how are you?
Good morning,
Good
Sue.
morning. Good morning. So happy to be here. Thank you.
So great to have you here. And I notice you're all decked out sharp, but you do have red on today.
I do. I have my red hair for the month to raise heart disease awareness. I have my red dress pin, which I am going to share with you guys this morning.
Oh,
Which is
about
so
that.
nice. I
A
love that.
red dress pin. So
Thank
I
you.
have a red dress on
Here are
too.
your red
Thank
dress
you.
pins. So
Thank
wear
you.
them for the entire month of February for American Heart Month, heart disease
right.
awareness. Men can wear them too for the women that you love. And
Absolutely.
I love that. It says, make it your mission to fight heart disease in women. I love that.
Right. That's right.
It's awesome. Thank you.
That's right. Go Red for Women was this past Friday. And since Go Red was launched, there has been a 34% decrease of cardiovascular disease deaths in women. So it
Wow.
really is making a difference just to raise this awareness in women in just, about 12, 13 years since Go Red launched.
I have to tell
It's
you, and
fantastic.
it's so fantastic. We're lucky to have you here. Sue's got a great story, and you and I were chatting about this is one of
Yes.
these where you're gonna. I think we might get a little emotional today
Oh,
again.
I'm a baby.
But you want to know what in a positive way because we know that Sue is a great individual and a great mom. And a community pillar, and she speaks about all different things going on. But on that note, Sue, let's turn it over to you, and
Okay.
if we wouldn't mind, let's hear a little bit about yourself and talk to the Younger Life Live crew out there in the audience about some of the stuff about you that we need to know about because this story is incredible.
Okay. Well, I am a community volunteer and a mom of 3 kids. My oldest, Sarah, is 27. She's a graduate of Butler and St. Xavier and is a speech pathologist in Chicago. I'm very proud of her.
Wow,
Fantastic.
great.
So that's fantastic.
My son Sam is 18 and my daughter Sophie is 11. She was 6 at the time of my heart attack and sudden cardiac arrest. Just kindergarten. Had just had her 6th birthday. So I'm just so blessed to be here and to be able to be a mom to my kids and to be able to spread heart disease awareness. And I'm so thankful for that.
Take us back, if you wouldn't mind, to the day that this transpired. So you're basically saying you had a heart attack and you're a young woman. I mean, I'm just freaked out by that. And this again goes back to statistics that are out there and
Right.
about things that happen.
Absolutely. I mean, I was looking, to actually read the statistics, it's overwhelming, about heart disease in general. It's the
Right.
#1 killer of men and women.
Exactly.
Right, correct me if I was,
Exactly. No,
if I
exactly.
definitely,
Men and women.
yes, men
yes.
and women, and every 43 seconds there's a cardiac event. Is that right?
Yes.
It was just,
Yeah.
it's staggering. I was looking at Center for Disease Control last night, just kind of just looking up different, signs and symptoms. And, I don't know your whole story, which is what I love too. I like to hear it firsthand like everybody else. So I guess let's start there. Let's
Yes,
start.
and 1 in 3,
so-
another statistic, 1 in 3 people will die of heart disease.
That's crazy.
I mean, it kills more than all cancers combined. So,
And it seems as though everyone has someone that's died of cancer. So to put it in that perspective is
Right.
really an enormous amount of people. I think I
Exactly.
read 610,000 Americans die from heart disease every year. And there's 4 of us here. I mean, statistically, that's one of us for sure will die of heart disease. And that is
Yeah.
insane to think of.
And especially for
it's
those
just
of us
us
that
3 and
have-
Ryan right now.
for those of us that actually have, I mean, my father had multiple heart attacks. He's
Oh,
no longer
absolutely.
with us. A lot of us have things that go on in our family with the cancer, like a lot of us, including myself. My
Right.
sister died from leukemia at 6. So, I mean, there's just a lot of stuff. And you're
In your
hitting it right on.
genes and
thanks for telling me, because everybody's now looking at producers are like, your dad's
I'm
better.
sorry.
Ricky.
No, I
You're
mean,
gone.
it's terrible.
I
It's
love
a
you,
terrible
honey.
statistic that number is incredible. And
Yes,
it's,
yes.
you know, when you say as far as it kills more than all the cancers combined, that again, that's something we can relate to. Just, I mean, when you just think of just your own little circle of people that you know, your family. So to put it in those terms is just, it's eye-opening. And that's why February is such a fantastic, I love that it's Heart Health Month, you know. There's so many things. I mean, we could have guest after guest as far as doctors and just people with their own experiences and just the things that we can do to help it. It's one of those things that we can actually help. And it's just, the more you read, you know, the more I was reading, the more I think, oh my goodness, there's so many things we can do to help each other, help ourselves, help our kids to learn better. And, you know, so
Exactly. Exactly.
I'd like to hear your story,
So
because
my
obviously
story,
you
yes, I
are
kind of-
a young woman and obviously a fit woman. How did this start? And there's so many questions I have. I want to hear the story first, though.
Well, on March 31st, 2010, so I'm approaching my 6th anniversary here, which is always a big celebration for
Sure.
me. March 31st is a great day for me. I dropped my youngest 2 kids off at school. Like I said, Sophie was 6 at the time, Sam was 12, and I picked up my friend to go on our usual 3-mile walk. Well, during that walk, I felt a little out of breath. And I told her, I said, oh, I'm a little out of breath today. I must really be dominating this conversation. I must not have given you much of a chance to talk this morning. I said, either that or I need to exercise more, I said, because I feel out of breath. So I dropped her off and I started my drive home. Well, during that drive home, I had a sharp, quick chest pain.
And describe that, please. Just
Right.
like, what did that pain feel like? Because I know that.
Because I know sometimes you get an
Symptoms.
indigestion or
I
something
do-
that is a sharp
I get
pain.
it all the time.
Ooh,
You're like, ow,
you
that
know.
hurts.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And that's why I did like totally blow that one off, because you know, we all have these little twinges and tweaks
Yes.
where we just say, you know, what the heck, you know.
Something.
So but it was you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, it was maybe only like 3 or 4. But it was sharp but very quick. So it wasn't like I was, you know, bent over, you know, grabbing my chest like you might see in the movies or
Right.
something. And like I said, I totally dismissed that. So I went home, I let my dogs out, I changed out of my exercise clothes, and I had another one of these. I'm like, what the heck's going on? So I decided to Google chest pain.
That'll scare
She
you to
has
death
time
right
to-
there.
she has
That's
time to
what
go on
kills
the
it.
internet.
You Google anything and you swear you're dying right then. So
Symptoms
Well,
for a
exactly.
heart
It's very
attack.
scary.
Help
Exactly.
me.
I kind of knew that. So that's why then I was like, no, you know, so, you know, heart attack pops up and I'm like, no, this is not what I'm looking for. I'm not having a heart attack. You know, I'm too young. I don't smoke.
You're a
I
fit
just
woman.
exercised, you know, I eat fairly healthy, you know, I'm not having a heart attack. So come on, people, give me some other ideas, you know. So I decided I was going to sit down and like hope it went away. So sat down and it didn't. I had another one. So I went back to the internet again, and then it was like, you know, lightheaded, nauseous, you know. I'm like, oh, well, I kind of feel like that too. But, you know, I think I'm just getting worked up about this.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still not convinced that I am having a heart attack. I am trying to talk myself out of
Because
this.
you know what, you're hitting a good point here, Sue. A lot of us would think, I'm just stressing out.
That's
Don't
it.
freak out.
Right.
because they
chillax,
are vague.
you know?
That was the other thing.
It's
They are
also
vague,
vague.
symptoms. The minor symptoms are very vague.
Mm-hmm.
So that's scary, and it's easy to convince yourself that it could be something else. I love that you pointed that out. So
Right. I mean, really, I think I'm having like a panic attack or
Yeah.
something, you know, it's anxiety, you know, I've got a lot to do that day,
That's
you
it.
know.
Kids are driving me nuts.
that's it. Been a rough morning, you know.
Exactly. So I thought, okay, I'm sitting down one more time and I'm going to see what happens. If I have one more, I'm going to drive myself to the ER. But, you know, I'm going to take a few deep breaths and just try to relax and hope this goes away. So I sit back down again, have another sharp, quick chest pain. So I decide I'm going to take off for the ER. I briefly thought about calling 911, but decided, nah, by the time they get to my house, I can already be there. Because remember, I don't think I'm having a heart
Right,
attack,
right.
you know? So I'm thinking, no, I just need to like go get checked out so they can tell me I'm not having a heart attack.
Peace of mind.
And I leave my purse at home, which later I was Jane Doe, because they had no
my
idea who I
gosh.
was. Because I thought, I just don't want to worry about my purse. I'll just tell them who I am when I get there. Well, that didn't work out. But I called my husband on the way and I said, I'm driving to the hospital because I'm having chest pains. But I said, I probably shouldn't because I have a lot to do today.
That's so
I have a
familiar,
lot
though.
to do today.
No,
Your
it
husband's
is.
probably saying, get to the hospital. I'll meet you there. I love you.
He
We'll see you in
did.
a
He
few
did.
minutes." See,
Thank
it's a typical
God.
guy
Thank
thing.
God. He was
Seriously.
not one of those husbands that said, I don't want to pay that emergency room
Oh,
bill
no,
or
thank-
whatever.
yeah.
Just go home and get everything done
Right.
and see what happens, because there are men like that. But he did. He said, well, if you're driving there, go get checked out.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't think he really thought I was having a heart attack either,
Right.
but he said, go get checked out, and I was looking for an out. I was looking for somebody to tell me, go back home.
Right.
So I did continue my drive to the ER, and I was 1 block from IU Health LaPorte Hospital, there at the red light there. I was stopped there at the red light, and I had another chest pain. At that point, I started to panic a little bit, and I totally believe that God led me through that light that day because I decided to run the red light. I was sitting there at that red light. I feel this panic and I'm like, okay, I think I'm going to run this. I look both ways, nothing's coming. I run the red light. I park right in front of the ER doors and I walk in and I said, I think I'm having a heart attack. So the woman at the desk, later she said, I really didn't think you were having a heart attack, but
'Cause you were
but
talking.
she did the right thing. I mean, I didn't look like your typical heart attack patient, but she did the right thing. She put me in the wheelchair and she said, why do you think you're having a heart attack? Well, I never answered that question because seconds after arriving at the emergency room, I had suffered sudden cardiac death. My heart had stopped. I had
Did you
stopped
hear that?
breathing.
Yeah.
Sudden cardiac death.
Death.
Death. Yes,
Death.
I was clinically dead at that point. I had stopped breathing.
Unbelievable.
My heart had stopped beating, and the only thing that can save you there is quick CPR and defibrillation. So, which I did get at IU Health LaPorte Hospital, and I am so grateful for.
Thank God you were in the hospital. Had you waited that red light, I mean, there are so many. Had you waited for another 5th chest pain at home rather than just the 4th, or you know what I mean? Did that?
Exactly.
That's-
And the they called a code blue. CPR was started, and then I was defibrillated by Dr. Michael Painter, and he
I love
later told me, I mean, he's amazing, and he has saved 2 people from sudden cardiac death. There's another man that he and his wife saved in a parking lot when they were golfing.
God
Yeah.
bless him.
Yeah, so this is
Seriously.
his second save. I mean, just what an amazing man. And
Can
you know,
I throw this out there too? And you look at situations like this, you ladies are going to know. Think about the big G above you,
Right.
and I'm going to talk about. I'm not throwing God into it, but I can and I will, for this reason. There was nobody at that stoplight. You know how busy that
Right.
intersection, that
Right,
area is by
exactly.
the
I
hospital?
know.
Right.
There's always traffic. I mean, looking both
Exactly.
ways, nobody getting up there, and you literally being able to. There's a reason you're still here on this.
That's
earth.
what I'm
It
saying.
wasn't
One
your
extra
time,
pain at
you know?
home. That's it.
Seriously.
Exactly.
I mean, those seconds of different, anything you would have changed would not have had the same outcome. I mean, that's incredible.
I know. And that's what Dr. Painter told me. He said, Sue, if you had not run that red light, you would not be here.
Right. You would have been in your
You
car.
had no time. You had only
That is
seconds. And
insane.
immediately after walking in that door,
And you got out the words, so she even knew. No, I mean that's even more
Right.
incredible. She knew what to. Although she didn't think you were clearly having a heart attack right that second, she already knew what to look for. So when you weren't responsive in that split second,
Right.
they already knew. CPR is obviously a must. They're not going to say what's the matter,
What's
trying to get you to
happening?
come
Right.
to. They already knew. I mean that is a
Right.
miracle.
It is-
By
it is
anyone
so
that
much
doubts
a
miracle,
miracle.
that's a miracle.
It
You know,
is-
oh
it
my
is.
goodness, that's incredible. I
At
love
that point, now, as you look back and as you're telling this story, Sue Klebeck here on Younger Life Live, it is a story that is just, it blows you away. There's so many levels to this.
Right.
And as we look at the month of February and having Sue in here chatting about what's going on, now, where's your husband playing to this? You're obviously out. You're at the hospital. At this point, after all is said and done, is he on his way to the hospital, or is he kind of waiting for you to say, "Hey, honey, I'm cool," and there's
Yeah,
nothing going on? Because
right.
you can't do that. So that would freak me out as a husband.
Yeah.
Like not being
Exactly.
able to get a hold of my wife, my
Exactly.
soulmate. Like, whoa.
Exactly.
Talk about
So he's calling my cell phone, which I
Oh.
had like 25 missed calls from him, you know.
Right, right.
And at some point then he's saying, "Okay, guys, I've got to leave." And he works over in Gary, so he's got a little bit of a drive.
That's
Right.
like 35, 40 minutes easy.
Exactly. So he said, "I got to leave. You know, my wife's headed to the ER. She's not answering. I've tried her like 20 times. I've got to leave." Well, meantime, IU Health doesn't know who I am. They are entering me in the record as Jane Doe. But however, they do go out to my car and look in the glove box and find the registration. However, they really still didn't know 100% because people do drive other people's vehicles.
Sure, sure.
So, but they look me up in the system and they start trying to call my husband. And the switchboard operator was hanging up on them. And it took them like 3 calls to get through and say, "This is an emergency. I need to talk to this man." Well, he has left by this point because he's been trying to call me, and so he is on the way. But it's still something, that day is something he really doesn't talk to me about. The only thing I really know that they ask him is, "Was I a drug user?" Because, you know, that's common in sudden cardiac arrest, and they're trying to figure out, why has this happened to me?
Right. When you had no other real health, risk factors, I should say, right?
Right, exactly. So they're thinking, you know, is this a drug user that has caused her heart to stop? You know, what has caused this? You know, they did later find that, you know, I did have a blocked artery. My LAD was over 95% blocked, and Dr. Rishi Sakija, he put a stent in that artery. All my other arteries were cleared, but that one was over 95% blocked.
Is that, looking back on it now, Sue, is that what they say caused this
Yes.
problem? Like,
Yes,
That's
yes,
crazy.
definitely. My blocked artery caused me to have a heart attack, which caused my heart to go into the irregular rhythms, which then caused my heart to stop. So, you know, I had the heart attack, which is the plumbing problem of blocked artery, and the electrical problem, which is the sudden cardiac arrest. So I had both. You can have one or both, you know, you can have either one of those separately, or you could have them together,
Which typically
is-
causes death, right? I mean, really, I can't
Right,
without
right.
the
The
reaction
quick
right away.
intervention.
Right,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Quick intervention, very quick.
In hindsight, was your body giving you any warning signals before the chest pains had begun? Weeks before, had you had anything going on or anything, even vague symptoms that, you would not really say, "Oh, this must be a heart problem," but I mean something that now you think, "Oh, my body was giving me a little bit of a warning or a red flag or something."
You know, when I looked back, the only thing I could come up with was that I had been really tired. I had taken several naps, like maybe the week or 2 previous, you know, and I really wasn't a napper, but I had 2 young kids,
Right,
I was
right,
How we all-
absolutely.
this is
I was
This
a
is the
busy
rationalization. It
Absolutely
truly is,
agree,
and
agree.
You
and
know?
very easy to, even the chest pains, easy to say, "Oh, I must
Shrug it
have
off.
had something
Exactly.
right." I mean, but what an incredible that you listen to that intuition a little and that guidance.
I totally
that,
did listen to my body,
obviously,
you know,
right.
and like I said, God too, because he at the right exact minute he had me take off for the ER. He had me go through that red light, because like you said, there were so many different scenarios that could have been.
Right.
So, but yeah, really the only other symptom that I could think of was tiredness, and then the shortness of breath, during that walk that morning. Which now they are, there's new research coming out for sudden cardiac arrest, which was featured in the Wall Street Journal last week, that these symptoms may show up, the sudden cardiac arrest symptoms may show up about a week or even, I think they said even up to like 4 weeks before, where you may have like some shortness of breath, some palpitations, some dizziness, that people have survived sudden cardiac arrest have looked back and said, well, I did have this.
So get those checked out. I mean, if
Exactly.
anyone is experiencing any of those, however vague symptoms, I mean, clearly you don't want to, most of us do not want to be the people that are at the doctor every other day because you have something pop up. But if this is consistent, I mean, it's worth it just to get the clean bill of health and go home. You know what I mean? It's still
Exactly.
worth it. That's just incredible. I mean,
This is why
Wow.
we are pushing big time. And I know that
Right.
Mary and her husband Jeremy are going to have the heart cart done. I had it done live on the air, as you all know.
Very
And
good, very
I just
good.
thought it was absolutely phenomenal. And there have been so many people that have gone through this here locally in LaPorte, Indiana, that have gone to IU Health. And it's a $1,200 heart cart, and it's free. And it could honestly save your life. And it is so easy to do. We did it live on the air. There was nothing crazy about it. It was bing, bing, bing. And I even made this comment. You could have this done in the morning on a lunch break. It is really quick, and quite honestly, you can be around to talk about it. And that's what freaks me out. And I could see from your husband's perspective, there were a few things that have happened to me in my life with my wife where she had fainted, and then we found out something that was going on with her that you really, from that perspective, you don't want to talk about because it brings you back. And I remember something happening where my wife, fainted, fell on the floor, hit her head on the side of something, and I literally was so distraught and freaked out that I was crying, and I'm like freaking out, and my daughter, who at the time was like 4 or 5, literally was the one who picked up the phone and dialed 911
Wow.
without
Oh,
missing a
amazing.
beat. And I literally, looking
Amazing.
back on it, to this day, we all talk about it. Like, always teach your children.
that's fantastic.
that-
You had taught them that
Yeah.
just
Yes,
because.
yes,
Seriously.
that's so great.
Because I would have, because I was so freaked out. But now I know, too, being that this may happen again, or whatever, it might be a reoccurrence in our lives, or anybody that's listening or watching out there, don't freak out if you're in that position. Just, help and let it flow. Because, at that point, when you said you got in and you were in the wheelchair and they talked to you, from that point, when she asked you that question, you were out, you were gone, but can you remember, Sue, anything? Did you remember anything else at that point? Or what was the
No,
next thing
no,
you
because-
remember?
How
You know,
long were you out?
And it is, I really don't know. It was a while before, because I was actually on even though I was defibrillated very quickly, it was a while before I really remember anything, because I was on a different floor of the hospital. And my first memory is of my cardiologist, Dr. Sakija, saying to me, Susan, open your eyes. And I'm coming to at this point, and I'm thinking, what is wrong? I'm in so much pain. I'm thinking, am I having a really bad dream? Am I dying?
Very
What?
disoriented.
Am I dead?
Am I dying? Yeah. I don't know that
Hey,
I've
it's supposed
already.
to be nice out
I
there,
don't know you
son.
did. Yeah.
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 I mean, seriously, as a mom,
She
does this
just-
freak you out?
Oh, it does. Especially, I mean, again, I just can't imagine. It kills me within seconds of any other decision. I mean, you technically died. You would not have been able to be resuscitated.
No. I
That
mean,
just is
it
a lot.
has to be a very, very quick thing. There are a few cases where people have been out longer and have survived, but that is very, very rare. And only 5% of people survive sudden cardiac death.
5%.
5%, yes.
Wow.
And
that
it's
was a
even
statistic I was kind of
fewer.
looking for and didn't find. So that's incredible. Oh, that's even scarier. 5%.
It is.
Wow.
It is. And then even fewer than that with like no long-term effects.
Right. right.
Some people are blind, some people have memory problems. There can be a host of problems because your brain has been shut off from
Right.
oxygen.
Right.
Oh.
That's a very good point. Did you,
freaks me
are
out.
there any long-term effects that you suffer that you care to share?
I'm so blessed there again. And also I have no heart damage. I have no visible heart damage when they look at my heart. My heart function is normal. which we didn't know if it would be at first, but it is now normal. They said, like if they did an autopsy on me, they could tell I've had a heart attack, but my heart looks great. And I have no long-term side effects from the sudden cardiac arrest, other than I have had probably some post-traumatic stress disorder. Depression kind of goes along with heart disease, and I did suffer from depression after my heart attack, and my doctor said, I think you're having some post-traumatic stress disorder because, at first, when I went home, when I went to sleep, I thought I was going to die again.
But it's not to be weird there. You could totally see
That's what I'm saying, and
that being a part
I
of it.
appreciate that you're sharing that part with us, because I feel like a lot of people, there's a stigma. The people don't want to admit that. Because you lived, there should be no reason you would be sad. I would be scared every breath I took that it would be my last. And every time you kissed your kids good night, I would struggle with that.
Exactly.
It would be hard to go to sleep.
Exactly.
I could absolutely see that. That would be very, very tough.
It has gotten better with time,
How did your kids, did they know the whole story, or did they just know that you had a sick heart when you were in the hospital, being young? Did they?
My 6-year-old, I don't think they really told her. That was basically my oldest daughter. She was a student at Butler. They let her leave. Her professors did, which was wonderful.
Right.
And she kind of came home and took over as mom and helped my husband out. And at the time, they did not tell my 6-year-old. So, my 12-year-old son knew. Of course, my oldest daughter knew. So Sophie knows now. She's now 11 years old, because it's so much a part of my life. And, my story is out there, like this morning when I dropped her off, I said, I'm going to be on WIMS this morning.
Yeah.
Right. YoungerLife Live. That's right. We love it. We love it.
So she knows my story now.
Were they able to see you in the hospital?
They were.
I love that you say that it's such a part of your life now. What specifically have day-to-day changes, for you? Aside from appreciating every day, are there physical changes that you do now that are different? Is your diet different? Is your, you already exercise. Is that different? Has that changed at all?
Yes, definitely. I definitely upped my exercise plan, and the cardiac rehab team at IU Health LaPorte Hospital really, I totally credit them with that. Cardiac rehab for me was a marvelous thing. I got on the treadmill, and they totally helped me regain, because I was afraid to walk out to the mailbox.
Absolutely.
I thought I was going to drop over dead. So remember, at this point, I'm very depressed. So, they get me on a treadmill. I'm hooked up to these monitors, and I have the confidence I need to start exercising. Even though I'm going at like a 2-mile-per-hour speed, I'm going very, very slow. And one day they say to me, Sue, tomorrow you're going to start running. Eddie said to me, and I said, no, I can't run. I can't run.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
So you
no,
think.
I haven't run since I was like 10. I don't know how to run. I had never been on a treadmill until I was in cardiac rehab. I exercised. I did these 3-mile walks 2 or 3 times a week.
Which is a lot more than the average
huge.
person.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's just so incredible, and all the more reason to please pay attention to your bodies. You know what I mean? That is such a good point.
Exactly. So the next day I started running, even though I had said, no, I can't do that. I ran for like a minute, and I trained until I got to the point where I could run a 5K. And
Get out of here.
Actually
really?
run it.
That's
Wow.
Yes. And I eventually
That's
trained
great.
to run a 10K. So the
you
Thanksgiving
go. Wow.
after my heart attack, I ran my first 5K, and I placed 5th in my age group. And it wasn't like there was 5 people in my age group.
That's funny. You wouldn't have. Don't tell us that even if
No,
you were.
because we're not getting us out there to run right now. We would or walk.
Oh,
I've done
goodness.
lots of 5Ks where you walk, where you
Yeah,
pull the
that's
wagon
fun,
with the kids.
right.
And
Right.
okay. That was cute there.
Yeah. Very
I
funny.
was 5th out of 5.
No, I love
Just
that.
kidding.
That is really, really.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
no, I
so
think
cute.
there were like 25 or something,
All right, well,
so
we're
yeah.
That's
proud of
huge.
you.
I
Yeah.
mean, really, Truthfully, just to finish it.
Sure.
Truthfully,
Right,
regardless of place, to be able to get through it once you've had the physical knockdown of, I mean, heart disease in general, but I mean, as severe as you did, that's just crazy.
Yeah, it was an incredible moment for me just because, you know, I had survived a heart attack and sudden cardiac arrest, and here I am, I'm running in a 5K.
Right.
It was, and to have that on Thanksgiving Day, a day where you're just very thankful for everything, for life, for health, it just kind of pulled everything together for me.
Can I ask too, and just to kind of go off of what you were saying too, Mary was asking you about your diet. So leading up to this, obviously you were walking, you said your diet was pretty decent, fairly normal. Right now, do you have very specific regimen? Like, you know, is there oatmeal in the morning? Is there a lot of water? Do you stay away from certain things now? I'm just kind of curious because a lot of us.
Are you low sodium forever?
Right,
Or, you know what I mean? Like, are there.
vitamins?
Right. And I totally say I was just kind of the good old American diet before. You know, I mean, I ate a lot of good stuff because I've always liked like veggies and fruits and stuff. But I'd also eat like half of a large pizza with my husband.
Right,
You know?
right. That's what we call normal. And I know that that's,
Right.
you know, not the best for you, but that's most people
American.
eat like
It
that.
is American.
I mean,
That's
so-
what we do. You know, you go out, you get a pizza, and
Yeah.
Have
you
fun.
eat it. You know,
Yeah.
and you have fun, and you know. So I really pretty drastically changed my
You did.
diet. Yeah, I mean, you're right about the oatmeal.
I'm all about my oatmeal with my
Really?
honey and my cinnamon and my
Oh,
cut up
yes.
banana in there
Oh
every
yeah,
day.
yeah. Mine is with
Really
some
does.
walnuts. I love walnuts.
Walnuts are excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, so I totally pretty much changed what I eat. I try to eat a very whole, clean. I do eat organic when I can. I eat a lot of fish, a lot of fruits and veggies. Totally stay away from the processed foods and the trans fats. If I am going to eat something that has a label, I totally read that label. And, you know, the hydrogenated oils are what we want to stay away from because those are so bad for our heart. And we need to totally stay away from those. So,
Isn't this crazy on Younger Life Live when you're looking at some of these different issues and
Right.
things that are going on? I look at this and I'm saying, this is crazy to me because you were working out, you were doing things. You are now in a different phase. Do you feel a lot better these days? I mean, you're always happy and energized. You
oh
can just
yeah,
tell.
yeah. I mean, I feel great. I mean, I do feel so much better than before my heart attack.
Wow.
But I didn't know it at the time.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know that I was kind of lacking in energy, probably because of that blockage. But I mean, now I am on the go from 6 a.m. till midnight. You know, I have an incredible amount of energy. I do consider myself a healthy person, even though I am, you know, a woman living with cardiovascular disease.
How often do you have to have checkups just for your own peace of mind and just obviously to keep a handle on any new problem?
You know, usually it's about every 6 months is when I see my cardiologist, you know, and IU Health LaPorte Hospital does a great job of taking care of me.
Oh, that's good.
I feel like I have, you know, all the testing I need and everything I need to make sure that I stay healthy. And you know, I have blood work done to look at my numbers.
Sure.
And
Right.
I personally check my blood pressure every day.
Do you?
I'm no longer on blood pressure medication.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I actually was before my heart attack, and
Oh,
I'm no
really?
longer on blood pressure medication.
So this is a theory too, and we chatted about this, Mary and I offline here at Younger Life Live. You know, for those of us, I'm on a hypertension. They say hypertension. I'm on this small little pill, and I always thought, man, I'd love to get off this. I've changed my diet. I'm doing a lot more. I'm always active 7 days a week. I'm riding a bike. I'm walking on the treadmill. I'm walking the dog. But there is hope for Rick Federici.
There is.
hope
There
for
is.
us.
I mean, that's fantastic.
Seriously.
It sounds crazy to think that you're healthier now after
I
dying
also
of a heart
lost
attack.
25 pounds. I did do that after my heart attack.
What was that?
I lost 25
Wow.
pounds.
Was that
Yeah.
which is really good? But was that because of the dietary changes you think, or
And the exercise, yeah, both. I was losing about a pound or two a week. I was pretty extreme right after my heart attack because I was so scared.
Yeah.
So I basically was like eating no fat. You
But
know,
see, is that hard? Not to stop you, but is that hard? Because for me, I think there's a lot of us out there that would try this or do this.
Yeah.
It's just that, like you said, whether it's the time constraints, whether you're
Culturally,
with
it's
your family,
just in the-
okay. I read labels, but then I'm so confused. I'm like, okay, this has got carbs, this has got cholesterol, this has got
Yeah,
this. I'm like,
yeah.
okay, I guess I'll put this down. I don't understand.
I
this.
better eat nothing.
Yes.
I
I'm
mean,
gonna have
it's
some
terrible.
kale. I'm gonna have a kale shake.
Yeah, you know, the diet was another thing. I hate to keep throwing questions at you,
No.
but
oh no,
the,
this is great. This is
what
great.
about the dietary changes for your family? Was that you specific, or do you find yourself cooking different, buying different things for your children to eat, your husband as well?
You know, when I did that very extreme thing right after my heart attack, I was the only one doing that, you know, and no one even told me I needed to lose weight. It was just something that happened. And you know, I totally understand other people's struggles with, you know, with finding it hard to watch what they eat and, you know, but it was just, you know, it's where I've been.
The fear for you
You
was
know, I
so
always say
great.
death is a great motivator.
That's what I'm saying. And it's just
It was
that's
a little
just-
easier for me than most people because of where I had been.
Well, I think too, and you saying this, and I if we could help one person in
Oh,
the audience
absolutely.
listening or viewing right now with Sue Klebeck, you know, the thing is, like, you probably have a different position in life to where understanding folks when you use the word depression and or whatever, because a lot of folks out there may not say, "Oh, come on, give me a break," like you were saying, Mary. You're alive, you're kicking.
Some
you know,
people might,
but
you
the
know.
spin on that is okay. You could probably understand that a lot, you know, more focused on that and say, "I know what you're going through.
Exactly.
I know what you're going through." That's
Exactly.
just
And
tough.
that one of my favorite things to do is to help other women with heart disease or men too. But I was trained by Women Heart, the National Coalition for Women with Heart Disease, to run a support group, which I do here in LaPorte County, and IU Health LaPorte Hospital gives me the space to do that every month, which I'm very grateful for. And through Women Heart and also through my support group, I have met various women that are living with heart disease, and I love to give them the peer one-on-one support to give them hope. You know, people with heart disease that are experiencing depression, they need that hope. And that's what I love to be able to give. And so I can do that through my support group and also through the opportunities that I have, you know, through Women Heart. And I do want to say this Thursday coming up, I have my interventional cardiologist, Dr. Rishi Sakija, as my speaker. The topic is going to be Ask a Cardiologist. So that will be in the Heart and Vascular Center this Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Everyone in the public is welcome. If anyone's listening, I would love to have you join us. Come meet
Male
me.
or female?
Male or female, come meet Dr. Sakija. Ask him what you may want to ask him. He's a wonderful man. He's so down to earth. He's very knowledgeable, very up on all the latest heart disease research, and just a very warm, friendly person that anyone would enjoy chatting with. So I encourage, you know, anyone in the listening audience to come to that this coming Thursday.
That's really good information. Is there a way they can get in touch with you or find out? I mean, is there somewhere else they can look it up if they need an address, or is there a cost to attend? If
There is no cost to attend. This will be a free program.
Wow.
Anyone, I don't mind anyone calling me. My phone number is 219-324-7519. You can give me a call if you want to ask me some more questions about that or about my support group. IU Health, I think on their Facebook page, they do have a post about this coming up this Thursday. So yeah, in the Heart and Vascular building, they're next to the hospital in the conference room. So.
And I love
That's
that we
fantastic.
share things, all things IU Health, on the flagship station here, the radio side of it, WIMS. And I think that's great. And on Twitter as well. That ding was an instant text saying, "You're a breath of fresh air." This story is incredible. Speaking of which, the Wall Street Journal picked up a week or so ago Sue's story on the health and wellness side of things. And I'm looking at this, and the stats as you were, doing your homework on this wonderful show, you always do, and you're actually good at that. The number is 1,000, the number of Americans who suffer sudden cardiac arrest outside of a hospital each day. How did you get connected with the Personal Journal and the Wall Street Journal on this piece that was just, if anybody wants to look it up, it's from Feb 2nd. It's really phenomenal pieces. I'm kind of etching through it. By the way, very nice picture of you.
Thank
Very
you.
good picture.
Thank you
Talk
very
about that
much,
a little
Rick.
bit.
Thank
Sure.
you. Yes, I got in contact with them through my contacts at American College of Cardiology. They know my story, so the Wall Street Journal had gotten a hold of them and asked them if they knew any sudden cardiac death survivors. And they said, we do. Can you talk to this reporter, Ron Winslow, within like the hour? Because those reporters like to move very quickly. They want to get that story out there. And so he called me and I talked with him, and they did a story
That's really
on
neat.
sudden cardiac arrest and the new research with sudden cardiac arrest, saying that these symptoms can show up as much as 4 weeks prior to sudden cardiac arrest.
It's such important information. It really is.
It is very important to get out there.
On a spiritual level, I mean, obviously this experience would have to have changed your views, a little bit, changed something. How did it change your relationships? I mean, was it something you guys were able to talk about? I know maybe not the specific time because it's just so difficult for your husband to talk about that period of not being able to reach you, but post you getting better, has it really changed your relationships with not just your husband and children, but everyone in your life? Has it really changed that?
Yes, I think so. My relationship with God, I've always had a very strong faith. But after this, when, God, I have to give him credit for running me through, for having me run that red light. And, every day when I pray, I thank God for saving my life and giving me my second chance, because this is my second chance. And I did get to when I was very depressed, I went and I talked to Dr. Sakisha, and he said, Sue, a lot of these people, because the statistics for especially younger women having heart attacks, they are not good. So I had read this statistic. I'm like, half of them die within the first year. And I read this statistic, and I started crying uncontrollably. And Dave, my husband, came in the room and he said, Sue, what's wrong? I said, Dave, I'm not going to be here to raise our kids. And it was a very rough time in my life. And I went and I talked to Dr. Sakisha, and he said, Sue, he said, a lot of these people do not make the changes that they need to make. So I said, you know what? I am going to be here for my kids. I am going to try to do everything in my power to beat this disease. And so that's when I decided I was going to drastically change my diet. I was going to start exercising 5 days a week. I was going to up my exercise plan. I was going to try to control the stress in my life. And, I also questioned around that time. I was like, God, what is your plan for me? Why was I one of these very, very few, very, very blessed people that survived sudden cardiac arrest? What do you want me to do? And I do believe that part of his plan for me is to spread heart disease awareness. And I hope that, through my story, others can live healthier lives. I'm just so thankful to God for that second chance.
I think you're doing more than you give yourself credit for. Your support group, I mean, that in itself does so much more than just teach someone your story. It also teaches them that they can be better too, I think, and that they can live on and live full without being afraid every step that they take, that with the proper support, that it's okay. I think that you're doing a lot more than you give yourself credit for.
And my group is also for anyone at risk of heart disease also.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just for people with heart disease, but those at risk of heart disease, which is everyone.
It really is.
They're letting the guys in there.
It really is. It really is.
Girls club.
What about your children now? Have they tested your children at all, or done any sort of...
we did think about that, but I decided against that because they know they're at risk for heart disease. And really we're all at risk for heart disease, since 1 in 3 of us is going to die. So the importance of heart disease. So the important thing is to make the heart healthy choices. And, I try to do that through the diet for my kids. Like, pop is only a thing like for special occasions. That's something I never drank. But I totally gave that up after my heart attack because I did occasionally like, an occasional soft drink, but,
Oh, absolutely.
but no more. I'm through with that.
What about coffee, caffeine in general?
Coffee? I drink 2 cups of coffee every morning.
Yeah, good, good. That's
But you
nice
have-
to know,
just
'cause
gonna
I love
say-
coffee.
You have to watch your
I'm a
coffee
coffee kid
creamer
too.
though, because some of that
Sure.
can have the hydrogenated oils in it. So
Yeah.
you have to watch your coffee cream if you use cream. So
A lot of
I
us stay
do.
away from sugar.
Oh,
A lot
don't
of
tell
us
me
stay
that.
away
I love
from
my
sugar.
coffee
No.
creamer. I know.
No more.
I know.
Well, to me, I look at this and I'm like, I think also to spin what you were saying too, there is that second chance.
Absolutely.
Don't worry about where you're at right now. If you think that you may be at risk or something going on, that to me is absolutely phenomenal. You know what I'm saying?
yes, yes.
I just
yes.
love Sue's energy.
I do
think
too.
she's
I
a
love
breath
the
of fresh
story.
air, right?
It's hard. It's just crazy. It's hard to believe. I don't know how anybody could say that's not a miracle. It's a miracle in
Right,
every
right,
sense. That is
right.
just incredible. And I love that you're sharing it with
And
everybody.
And I believe too, quite honestly, that being about the big G, and no matter what your thought is, if you have a denomination, if you're a religious person, you were kept on this earth because he wanted you to be there for your children and your husband, but to spread the word. And really, you, with what you're doing, you're saving lives. You straight out, and with the partnership you've got
Thank you,
with
Rick.
IU Health Laporte Hospital and being open, I think that's beautiful. I really do. I think you're just a wonderful soul for that.
I think,
Thank
yeah,
you,
thank
absolutely.
you.
It
Yes,
is
I-
a great story.
I love IU Health.
Absolutely, I bet. I mean, truthfully,
I love everything
I
about
mean,
them.
that's just
yes.
Now, can I ask you a question? When you walk in the front doors of the hospital, they're like, "There's the lady."
Oh, I mean,
That's a funny note, but
it's true.
That's crazy.
I mean,
to
it
me.
is, and very just, I mean, it's heavy. That's heavy business. It really is, and especially down to the receptionist signing you in. I mean, bravo her being, getting that 2 seconds out of you. Just you coming in and
Right.
saying, "I think I'm having a heart attack." At least then she's trained to know. Okay. Call the code, whatever it takes once you're non-responsive.
Exactly.
I mean,
They
down to every
immediately-
one of those little things. That's why I say miracle
Yes.
for sure. Is there
Yes.
any little piece of advice to us that maybe you would say, if you take nothing else away, this piece of advice for every person is at least something we could all learn from or do better?
Just know your numbers, get checked out, know your blood pressure, your cholesterol. If those aren't where they should be, get them where they need to be. And listen to your body. If you have these symptoms and you think you're having a heart attack or sudden cardiac arrest, call 911. Don't do what I did and drive either. Call 9. I can't.
Thank God.
I know
Yeah, I
that,
mean,
like-
thank God it all happened, but that is very scary. Yeah.
Even though this reporter asked me, he said, would you change anything? And I said, well, I can't say that I would change it because it worked for me.
Right.
But I do have to advocate calling 911. If you think you are having a heart attack or, heart.
But again, not to be weird, the
Had
split
she,
second in
though?
your life saved you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Had
I mean,
she
seriously.
been waiting,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah,
incredible.
had I did
mean,
anything different, it
Right.
might not have worked,
Yes.
So
I want to throw this up there, ladies. And Sue, I want you to expand on this a little bit. February, you were talking about it being the month to remember about your heart. Make it your mission. Can you talk a little bit about the pins that you gave us today, please, here at the studios for Younger Life?
Yes, that's the Go Red for Women campaign through the American Heart Association. And they launched that campaign in 2003 to bring awareness to women and heart disease, because really before that, it was pretty much looked at as a man's disease. All the research was done on men. And, we're still working to get more research done on women because a lot of research still is done on men. So it is a campaign. The red dress shows that we're trying to bring awareness to that it is the #1 killer of women, and that we do need more heart disease research done for women.
Very
Well, I think one of the cool things to take away from this as well is the heart card is being offered through 2016 at
For
IU
free.
Health LaPorte Hospital. It is free, like you said, $1,200 value. Please get it done. And you know what? The cool thing to do it, like Mary and Jeremy and are doing it, Norma just had hers done recently. It's the cool thing to do. Do it as a couple, your significant other. Do it for yourself. Do it for your children. Don't be selfish about it. If you think that you have some situations going on, I think this is the time to do it. And it's really, really simple.
Right.
It's like 10, 15 minutes at the most. Everybody's so helpful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, oh yeah. And I was sharing with my parents, you don't, just because you don't have any, concerns right now, why not do it? Do it. This is a great time to at least, even if you book it and they're booking up, because they take appointments, you'll make an appointment for it. It's free. Even if it's months out,
Exactly.
it's worth it. Even if you just get a letter that says, oh, you're totally normal, good deal.
Then you can breathe
But
easy.
at least, exactly. So that's
Yes.
why I
Yeah,
send my
such a
husband
great-
and I up.
Such
and-
a great deal and a great thing to do during February,
That's
American
it.
Heart Month.
Just
And
when
you
there's-
guys need to get out there too, because I know
Absolutely.
Yeah.
sometimes guys are a
You
little
guys.
bit, I've been talking about
Mm-hmm.
women a lot, but you guys need to get in there and have it done too, because I know
Number one
I
killer
know
of
guys
women.
are a little hesitant sometimes
Yeah.
to go get checked out. They're like,
I want to be
tough-
alive for my children. I want to be alive to see
Exactly.
their weddings. And I like life.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody's
Exactly.
different, but-
Life is good.
Life is good,
I have to throw this out there. We've
certainly.
got a bunch of folks listening too. Katie Gartland just sent over I love you very much, Sue.
Oh,
Oh.
hi,
Instant
Katie.
text,
I love you too, Katie.
We're all about that. Well,
Very
ladies,
sweet.
we're wrapping it up right here. Another great installment of Younger Life Live. I'm Rick Federici.
I'm Mary Anthony.
And Sue, thank you so much. Big
Thank
round of
you, Sue.
applause.
Thanks for
Sue,
coming
wow.
and sharing.
Thank you.
You are
It's
absolutely
my pleasure.
phenomenal.
Thank you for
Again,
having me.
We have less than a minute left. Please let everybody know Thursday you're going to have a group session.
Thursday at 6:30 with Dr. Sakija, IU Health LaPorte Hospital, the Heart and Vascular Center. Check out the IU Health Facebook page
Mm-hmm.
for more details. Maybe WIMS also. I think you're going to put it
Absolutely.
on there,
Oh,
right,
good.
Rick?
Absolutely, already up.
So check that out and come talk with Dr. Sakija. Ask him any questions. Like I said, he's a wealth of information. Ask a cardiologist with Dr. Sakija this
Well,
Thursday.
It's been awesome to have you here. I'm glad you're still here with us.
Thank you so much,
And,
Rick. I'm so
Mary and I-
blessed. Thank you.
Mary and I look forward to having you on again. So please
Thank you.
continue with us. Thanks
Thank
to our
you.
great crew at IU Health LaPorte Hospital. Reminder, Heart Card in full swing since 2016. See you tomorrow. We've got 20 seconds. What do we got coming up in a nutshell for the rest of this week, John?
Tomorrow we're going to be discussing the art of neighboring, and later this week on Wednesday, this is important, we're having